So, podcast?
That's right, podcast.
Podcast. Hi, I'm Kayla,
And I'm Tommy.
and this is Rebel Retrospective.
Yes, it is.
Alright, first up today. Last time we started with a new release, so let's start with something else. Let's start with what we've been watching recently. Would you like to go first?
I would. I'm going very off book due to a last minute change. So I've been watching in my weekly TV shows various DC TV shows. I absolutely love
Of course
them.
you have.
Most of them are really bad, but I watch them anyway because it's me.
And you're a fanboy.
And I'm a fanboy. But the standout this week is a show called Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay.
And it was my favourite show back in 2016 when it first came out. And when it first came out, it was very much this. It's kind of like, it's basically Doctor Who, but with superheroes.
Okay.
Even down to the main lead, Rip Hunter, is played by Arthur Darvill, who played Rory Williams in Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
It was ridiculous. Anyway, so that was good. It was really good when it came out. It was kind of like Doctor Who, but with superheroes. But recently, they've undergone a bit of a style change over the years. They kind of lost their footing a little bit. And now they've come in with this wonderful style of just being goofy ridiculousness. Like, I mean, time travel stories are generally a bit ridiculous anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, Doctor Who's a great example, but this is like on a whole other level of just...
Is this like Back to the Future kind of ridiculous?
More like parodying other shows kind of ridiculousness.
Okay.
So they now have kind of referenced a lot of other shows and they've kind of broken continuity, and it just doesn't matter because it's all in the air of the new style that they're trying to put forward.
Okay.
It's really good, and it's good because it had lost its footing kind of around the third season, and it's on the fifth season now, and it's just really found its style and its unique personality. They're having fun with what they're doing. I mean, it's not revolutionary TV or anything, but it's a fun watch.
Is it one of those things that you like put on and you're like, yeah, I can watch this. I'll just have a fun few hours.
I mean, for me, it's one of those things that I actively want to watch.
Okay.
So I was going to watch something else for the podcast, and I was like, no, I'm going to watch this because it's ridiculous.
Brilliant.
And yeah, it's really good. It's the one that I always seem to be like messaging people about, just being like, this is the craziest show like right now, because all the other crazy shows aren't on at the moment, but this one is, and it's really good.
Okay.
What about you, Kayla?
I have been watching a few things recently, and I'm going to start with Sound and Fury, which is actually like a short animated film, or mostly animated film. It's... So this is going to sound absolutely insane. Okay, so this guy, Sturgill Simpson, is a country songwriter, right?
Okay.
Singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
And he came out with this album, Sound and Fury, which... Well, basically, the story goes is that he did a whole load of shrooms with this other musician guy, and then he just sat down and wrote this entire album. And the music itself is absolutely fantastic. It's an amazing album. I would very much suggest anyone listening to go listen to it, because it's not country, and it's not quite classic rock, and it's not quite electronic. It's like somewhere in the mid-ground, and it's wonderful. Anyways, so he sent this entire album over to a team in Japan and was like, yeah, can you just animate something for the music? So it's like 40 minutes of just what the music sounds like. So there are different bits to it, and some of it's animated, some of it isn't, but the majority of it is, and the animation style is so pretty.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It just moves gorgeously. Which... I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to animation. Like, it has to look nice, or I will just turn off, because... Ugh.
Yeah. It has to look nice, it has to flow. and look natural as far as animation can look natural.
Yeah. And it does that, and it also, like, carries the plot, but without any words. So, if you are into the kind of slightly more experimental side of animation and film and music, then you'll probably enjoy it. But if you like more sort of traditional film, then I would probably avoid it, even though it's amazing, because you'll just end up being really, really confused.
It certainly sounds very experimental and definitely something I'd be interested in watching.
Have you been watching anything else?
No, but I wanted to take just a couple of minutes to talk about TV shows in the current climate, because most of the TV shows that I'm watching at the moment on a weekly basis are being cut short due to COVID-19.
God damn Corona.
And these shows are really weird when you actually look at them.
Yeah.
Like, some shows handle it really well. So Riverdale, for example, kind of handled it really well, and it kind of still seemed like a season finale. Whereas something like The Flash just felt a bit like, well, this is the end? Is it the end? Seems like just the end of an episode. So I've got more shows that are ending next week early due to COVID, and I'm kind of anxious about it because I don't quite know how it's going to work. So yeah, it's all a bit of a weird time.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a weird time for most of the industries that require you to actually see other people, which, let's be honest, is most of them. So
yeah, my conclusion from all of this is that it's not so much a time for watching your favourite shows, because obviously they are wrapping up early, etc., etc. It's more binge all the shows you haven't watched.
Yeah.
That's what this time is, I would say.
It's just catching up on your to-do list, as it were, but film watching.
Basically, yeah.
Speaking of catching up, I recently finished watching The Hollow, because the second season of that just came out. And I decided I was going to rewatch the entire thing, because I could not for the life of me remember what happened in season 1. Okay, so The Hollow is an animated show, which explains why it hasn't, disappeared off the face of the internet yet. And it's trippy. It's a kids' show, supposedly.
That's always good when it's a kids' show, supposedly.
Supposedly. Because I think it's aimed at, like, young teens, because I cannot imagine a 10-year-old watching it and being like, yes, this makes sense. But who knows, maybe 10-year-olds are smarter than they give them credit for. But the animation style is very stylistic, and it's very, very smooth, and the animation is good, but it's highly stylized, which I love. I always like it when a show has a very different animation style, or an art style.
Something a bit unique that sets it apart from some of the other meandering animations.
Yeah, exactly. Because you see the same kind of animation over and over again, so it's really nice to see something new. So with a few things I would like to say about the show without ruining the plot, because it's very plot driven. Even in, like, character development and stuff, it's all plot. And it's got quite a few twists. Some which you can see coming, some which are a bit more like, wait, what? But it's got excellent diversity. The diversity is fantastic. I think you've got, you've got an even-ish split of female and male characters. The female characters are well fleshed out. I was saying this last week. You can tell the stuff I like to watch is the stuff that has decent characters.
Did we expect this to have by episode continuity on the podcast, like continuity on our likes from week to week?
I don't know. Maybe it's almost like, we're the same people from last week. Holy shit!
Shocker.
I know. But the diversity is very good. It's not just, white girls and white boys. It's, most of the cast are teenagers, which, For a kid's show, it's not unusual.
No.
But it does have gay representation. It's got people who are adopted, people who have queer mothers, fathers, can't remember.
It's very diverse. It's hitting every corner, if you like.
Yeah, it really is. And it doesn't do it in a, look, we're being diverse kind of way. It's a, these people are friends kind of way, you know?
Yeah.
Some of the plot points are very, very obvious, and you'll sit there for a minute and be like, oh my god, you idiots, can you please just figure this out already? Are you dumb? And then it'll take the plot in like a different direction. So that's always fun. So I would very much suggest that if you're looking for something interesting enough to keep your brain occupied, but isn't like so demanding that you can't watch it when you're kind of sleep deprived, I'd say The Hollow is a good choice.
Fantastic.
Speaking of shows that you could watch when you're a bit sleep deprived and really it would be okay, let's go on to Irredeemable.
Oh, okay.
So, Irredeemable, for those of you who did not join us last week, is where we take a show that everyone thought was really, really trash, but we think was great, or vice versa. Yeah. And this week, at Tommy's behest, we watched the 2017 live Power Rangers film.
Which, to clarify, I absolutely love.
I also love it. That being said, it's trash.
Yes, we'll get to that. Just some backstory as to why I chose this. This is going to sound absolutely mental, but I watched this back in 2017 when it came out.
Okay.
And another movie that came out that year was Logan, which is obviously the third Wolverine film.
God, yeah.
And
I still hurt from Logan.
Yeah, Logan's a great film. I've learnt to love it. I've gained more appreciation for it over time. But at the time, I was on record saying that I thought Power Rangers was better than Logan.
No, you didn't.
And, I got so much hate over this.
Well, obviously.
And in hindsight, Logan is by far the better film. I still love Power Rangers.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it. So, I have some notes.
Okay, let's start in on your notes.
So,
then.
For those of you that have not seen Power Rangers, it's basic. I'll read you the plot summary.
Go on then.
High school outcasts stumble upon an old alien ship where they acquire superpowers and are dubbed the Power Rangers. Learning that an old enemy of the previous generation has returned to exact vengeance, the group must harness their powers and use them to work together and save the world.
It's exactly as awful as it sounds, but it's fantastic. It's like...
So, it's directed by Dean something or other. And...
A-star research there.
And it has, I think, two key cast members that stand out.
Okay.
Number one is Alpha 5, who is like their robot sidekick.
Yes.
Who is voiced by Bill Hader from It Chapter 2 and or Barry or SNL is the other place.
Yeah.
The other one is the Pink Ranger, Kimberly, who is played by Naomi Scott, who is Jasmine from Aladdin.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
I would also like to mention Dacre Montgomery, he's in Stranger Things. Who does he play in Stranger Things? Billy Hargrove. So it was interesting watching him play not a total creep.
So, the movie itself.
Yes.
It's dark and it's gritty. Even from the opening, you know what you're in for. Power Rangers is a bright, it's colourful. This is dark and depressing.
I would like to mention it tries to be dark and gritty in the same way that a 13-year-old is dark and gritty.
Yeah, okay, that's...
This is the film equivalent of a 13-year-old putting on black lipstick and dyeing their hair blue and being like, it's not a phase, Mom!
Just to add, I think, to prove that point, they do a meteorite that was the one that wiped out the dinosaurs in the opening. Like that's just
Yeah.
them just trying to be like, we're gonna
Yeah.
be dark and edgy. Well, let's wipe out the dinosaurs. Okay. The characters.
Yeah.
Every single one of them is a cliche.
Yes.
I wrote a list, and all of them are cliches.
Yes.
So you've got Jason, the cliche sports guy who doesn't want to be a sports guy. Kimberly, the cliche popular girl with that popular girl drama.
Yep.
Billy, who's cliche nerd and amazing.
Yep.
Trini is your cliche outcast character. And Zach is your cliche guy who has a sick family member and is really reckless.
Yep. They're all cliches.
They are all cliches, and it's even more cliche because they come across a bunch of stones that are basically infinity stones.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's pretty fun, and it's by coincidence that they all just showed up in the same place as well. So it's kind of just,
Yeah.
you have to go with it. You have to throw yourself in and just go, yeah, sure, go for it.
Yeah, it's one of those films that you just have to, from the start, just accept that it's just going to be like that, and you just have to just accept it.
So who was your favourite? That's the question I have for you.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. My favourite character was probably Kimberly, but like with Billy in a very close second.
Mine's Jason, so I think he's really good. Although Kimberly's probably my second, then followed by Billy.
Yeah, I will explain why. It's simply because she cut her hair in the bathroom for literally no fucking reason other than the fact that she could.
I love that. It's in my notes. She does the cliche cutting her hair thing. Like Harley Quinn over here.
Yeah, and it looks good.
And it looks amazing.
At that point, I accepted that it's just going to be one of those films.
I think Jason and Kimberly are really good. I liked every scene where it's just kind of them chatting.
Yeah.
I quite like that. That was pretty good.
Oh, you know what I really enjoyed? The fact that they didn't force a romance.
No, when I watched it in cinemas 3 years ago, I remember thinking, that's where this is going. And it didn't.
It was just like a really nice friendship, and you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah.
One of the reason I think I love Jason is he's always the hero from day one. Even though he's this reckless, like he stops the bully picking on Billy, he drives the car to go collect everyone when security are there.
Yeah.
Like, he's always doing his thing, you know? And he's been doing it from day one. That is key Red Ranger characteristics.
Yeah. It's like, you know, he's a bad boy, but he's a good boy. A good bad boy, if you would.
And then they all get hit by a train.
Yeah. And then they don't die.
And that leads me on to, I think, one of my favourite sequences.
Okay.
Them discovering their powers.
Yes.
And it's very Spider-Man-esque. Like, they always have the Spider-Man, like, breaking all the stuff in the bathroom and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just really good. And then they go to a canyon and they do, like, this Chronicle-style jumping over it, and it's really cool.
I was watching it and I was like, oh my god, she's gonna... Wait, no, she didn't die. Holy shit. And...
Yeah.
And then just, like, watching the other characters make the decision to just fucking yeet themselves across this canyon. Fantastic.
I also quite like the high school. It kind of feels like a high school.
Yeah.
Like, Billy beats up the bully and suddenly he's Mr. Popular. And then Kimberly comes along and they're like, oh my god, Billy knows Kimberly Hart?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my...
Like you would actually do.
Yeah. Speaking of Billy...
Yes.
I love this boy with all of my heart. And,
He's brilliant.
It's nice to see autistic representation in film. It's nicer to see autistic representation who's also black.
What I thought was really nice is they do the whole thing of, like, Billy explaining that he's autistic.
Yeah.
And Jason's like, look, it doesn't matter. You're you. Go with it. Like,
Yeah.
just be you. Dude, seriously, just be you.
Yeah, he's just like, okay, chill, it's fine.
Chill, it's fine. You don't need to explain yourself. You're my friend, it's all cool. You know?
Yeah, and then also later on where he's like, dude, you can stop talking, it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Billy.
My only, like, niggle is that he's very stereotypically male autistic.
Yes.
Which is what you always see. But it's nice to have, like, the diversity card in there as well.
Given that I don't believe that was a thing in the original,
Yeah.
like, that it's based on, like, the actual TV show, it's nice to see.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of the diversity...
Oh, okay. Is this where I think this is going?
Okay. The diversity was okay. Like, it could have been better. But then again, it was set in, like, this random American town somewhere on the coast, so for that.
So while we're on diverse characters, Trini,
yes,
you may not know this, she is actually the first gay superhero in a film.
That doesn't surprise me.
But like it was like groundbreaking that like this was the first. Like, it wasn't a deep Marvel or DC thing. It was Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And it's done casually as well. Like, they don't make a big deal out of it. So it's I really like that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, they were having, like, this heart-to-heart, and it came up naturally, which can be difficult to do with, like, you know, providing exposition for someone being gay, because it's not something you can fucking see.
So, okay, moving on. We've got a lot of film to cover.
Oh my god, okay.
The training montage. I love it.
Oh my god, yeah! It was so cringy, but in the best way.
I love the bit with Trini and Kimberly in the cafe.
Yes!
And they're just,
I was watching
so
that, and I was like, kiss, 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 kiss. Not that I have, like, you know, an OTP from that film or anything.
And it's really well done. Like, it leads into the bit with Billy getting his suit first, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Why he would get it first. I think the action in general is just actually really good.
Yeah.
Up until towards the end, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I think the action is really good. We talked about action that doesn't cut very much.
Yes.
Like, this is another great example. The death fake out. What did you think?
I was like, they're not going to leave him dead. They're not going to leave him dead. I know that they're not going to leave him dead.
I was okay with it because they were setting it up with the whole Zordon thing.
Yeah.
It was always leading to there. And it leads into the suit up, which is so incredibly cringy.
But is, like, in the best possible way. Like, oh my god.
And they get a superhero walk as well. Like, a reveal and a walk. Oh, so good. And then we have an underwater fight, and it's awesome.
I would like to mention the underwater scenes, because they are all shot so gorgeously.
I was going to mention earlier on where they are all in the water and they're like glowing the colour of their ranger.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And the door that's like a wall of water.
Gorgeous.
It's really nice.
Absolutely beautiful.
And then they lead into the best scene in the movie, at least for me.
Okay.
And it's you might not appreciate this as someone who's not maybe into Power Rangers as much as me, but the Go-Go Power Rangers, and then it played the theme from the original Power Rangers TV show.
I noticed that. Okay, so quick story time. I ended up watching some of the original Power Rangers when I was a kid, and at the time I thought it was fucking ridiculous, but also I loved it because that's just who I am, apparently. So when that started playing, I was like, hell yes! Hell yeah!
So it's a really cool moment. I wish they'd used it maybe a little bit more, but
yeah,
it's really good.
I was fully expecting them to start using it as a proper theme, and then they didn't, and I was a bit disappointed. But hopefully we'll have more.
Yeah, and then the end. I've just wrote here that it basically turns into a Transformers movie.
Well, yeah.
And I'm a bit disappointed about that, but it's cool nonetheless. I guess it's pretty okay.
Yeah.
I like the bit where he's like, guard the line or whatever, like hold the line, because he's a quarterback. So he's like, got to make it football, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's cool. And then they slap her.
And then they slap her. Oh my
And then they slap
gosh.
her.
I liked the slap, actually. I thought that was a really funny way to end the fight.
Yes, definitely. And then we have them all in detention,
Yeah.
doing that whole throwing the paper thing, which they did earlier,
Yeah.
and it's really cool. And I don't know if you saw the post-credit scene.
I did see the post-credit scene.
They set up Mr. Green Ranger, Mr. Tommy himself.
Or Miss.
Tommy.
Yeah, no. I did some research into this. Because
Oh
I was
dear,
like,
okay.
oh, is there a second one coming out? And
No, there's not.
there isn't. But when the first film came out, the cast was campaigning to have a female Tommy. Because why not?
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, my main issue with that is I love Tommy from the TV show. I absolutely think he's shown up in like so many of the different TV shows. He's maybe the most important Power Ranger character.
Okay.
So changing that would be a bit...
I don't see really what any effect changing the gender would actually have on that, though.
No. It's probably just my bias of it being called Tommy. But yeah, I absolutely love this film. I think it's got some actual good cinematography at parts. I like the car sequence.
Yeah.
I like the cycling from the POV, and it's like cut so that it changes scenery to show them cycling. I think that's really well done. And just anything in water.
I think the problem a lot of people had was they were going into this film expecting it to not be a Power Rangers film. They were expecting it to be like, a superhero film. Where...
I mean, it is. It is,
but it
kind
also
of.
stays very true to, like, the original series' absolute fucking insanity.
Yes. Aside from the costumes, that's the one, I think, disappointing adaptation for me.
Yeah?
It's the costumes are a little bit too, like, this is real world gritty. I would have liked some, like, more like the Power Rangers costumes, less of this Iron Man-y stuff.
So you wanted them to be wearing...
Well, you could make, like, the modern day Power Rangers from the show, like, Modern Day.
Yeah, okay.
Have really cool looking Power Ranger suits. And I've, like, seen... My time in Power Rangers was kind of around Space Patrol Delta and Mystic Force, and they have really cool costumes. And, it just... I would have maybe like something little bit less Iron Man. I think just a bit more colour.
Yeah.
Like the Zords especially. Maybe they could have just made it a bit more colourful. Only one thing left to talk about. The villain.
Oh, I loved Rita. Oh my gosh. She
I think she's really good.
She was really, really good. And so, full disclosure, I might have a very gay crush on her because that ass.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's I think better than the original TV show did. And it's Elizabeth Banks who plays her, and she does a really good job.
Yeah. Just, the level of just unprecedented crazy that comes out of this woman is just fantastic.
I mean, there's a bit of a plot hole. Like, how can she morph if you need to all be connected to morph? But, magic. Film, movie.
It's a
stuff.
film. Don't worry about it.
But in conclusion, the best character is Alpha 5.
Yes.
You have to deal with it.
I mean, sure.
He's just the best character. He's just there. He's like, oh, I'm an evil alien. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's there. He's like, they're humans, teenagers. No, adult children, people. What?
Yeah, adult children.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Have I won you over?
I think we're gonna have to label this one as redeemable.
Yes.
It's a fun romp. Don't go into it expecting anything serious. This is not Avengers.
It's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Legit, that's what's in my like film ratings thing. It's there as a 9 out of 10.
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
But yeah, don't go into it expecting, a proper superhero film. This is this is silly. Expect 2 hours of silly dressed up as a superhero film.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Moving on to something a little less dressed up as a superhero film.
Okay.
We were scrubbing for new releases.
We were.
And we decided to go with, Kayla suggested a movie called The Half of It.
I came across it a couple weeks ago before it had been released, and I put it on my list for when it was released. I was like, oh, this looks good. So when it came out, I was like, oh my gosh, it's out. Can we please watch this?
Yes. Out it is, yes. And we did watch it.
You say that like you haven't watched it.
Yes, I have watched it. I have notes.
Should we start with your notes then?
Yes. So, I wasn't optimistic going into it.
Whoa, okay.
It's not necessarily my kind of thing. At least not what I would usually watch. And I'll be honest, I was charmed and delighted by it.
Wow, charmed and delighted.
I really was. Well, almost. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So, going through my notes, I like the opening.
Yes.
I think it's beautiful. They do this really cool. Spoilers ahead, by the way. They do this beautiful narration with a side of animation-y, stop motion-y stuff. It's really nice looking. It's
very pretty.
Although the narration is so cliche.
Yeah, but I think that kind of adds to it,
Even down to, as you can guess, this is not a love story. Well, of course you're going to say that. Every one of these types of films says that.
Yeah.
Okay, but I was charmed and delighted. I liked it. It was really good. I laughed out loud a lot. A lot.
Yes.
It's quite funny. Personal highlight for me is our main character, Ellie. It was Ellie, wasn't it?
Yes, Ellie Chu.
She basically runs a side business, I guess, of writing other people's essays.
Yeah.
And the teacher is like, look, I don't care that you write people's essays. I'm just glad that I don't have to read what they'd actually write. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
It's the most, accurate teacher representation, right?
Yes.
They don't give a fuck.
And then linking to what we talked about last week, her and her dad speak Mandarin.
Yes.
When they're together. In universe, it's because he doesn't speak much English.
Yep.
But it's also really nice, again, just when other characters aren't around, talking what your native tongue of what you talk in.
Yeah.
It's just nice. It just adds to the immersion.
A point on that is later on in the film, Ellie's dad and Paul are talking, and Paul mentions how he doesn't see Ellie, and Ellie's dad goes into this little monologue about how much he loves his wife and stuff like that, and he switches to Mandarin halfway through because he doesn't have the words in English, but you can tell that Paul kind of understands what he's going on about, even though he speaks literally no Mandarin, simply because
it's two things. It's a payoff to what they've earlier set up, where you can, because he doesn't speak, you get that kind of payoff when you realise he hasn't quite got the words to. But it also shows that, Paul can read his body language, there's a relationship there he can understand.
Yeah. And I just thought that was really nice.
It was really nice. Moving on to less sweet things, I have a note here that just says, okay, it's really funny.
Yeah.
Which it is.
It's a sad film at points, but it's also ow, my guts hurt kind of funny.
It knows when and how to hit the comedy beats.
Yes.
So that's good. I really like the quotes. Quotes show up throughout the film.
Oh my gosh, I was literally crying with laughter at some of the quotes.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
My favourite sequence was probably I'm going to call it the bold strokes on the wall sequence.
Yes.
Which is it's a sequence of two characters going to a wall and painting at different times and responding to each other as some kind of internal monologue about their personalities.
Yeah. And then
it's beautiful.
And then it gets painted over.
And that's also, I think, actually beautiful in terms of storytelling.
Yeah.
But in fact, just leading on to that, like all the montages like that are just really good.
They are well done montages. Like, I love a good montage, right? I am an absolute sucker for a montage.
Yeah.
That being said, these ones will stand out. They are not boring. They make sense. They're not too long. You don't have cheesy montage music. I love that.
Moving on to another scene I quite liked. I like all the ping pong sections.
Yes!
Maybe because I play table tennis and I just like it, but I just really enjoyed that as a way of they used it in the movie for like training Paul to speak with English properly.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to kind of have the beats of the ping pong to match the beats in the conversation.
Yeah,
that's really clever.
I also thought it was nice that, our main male protagonist wasn't, smooth McSmoothface, as it were.
Oh, we'll get to him.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to him.
Okay.
We'll get to the actual smooth mate.
Oh.
So I also quite like the scene. There's a scene about midway through when Paul is struggling to talk to Asta, who is, oh my god, great name.
Yeah.
And he's struggling to talk to her, and they do it with text, and Ellie's actually texting. I think that was a really cool concept. Didn't see that one coming.
Neither did I, and Paul is just, making faces at Ellie like, what the fuck are you doing?
Again, good, sad, and good storytelling mixed in with the correct comedy beats at the right times. The last note that I have, I've got more to say, but the last note I have, I just really laughed at the party when they had Drinkers of Catan.
Yes.
I thought that was brilliant. I want to play that at some point. That'd be amazing.
It does sound like it would get you fucked up, which is what a good drinking game is meant to do. So,
do you want to say some positive things before I stop saying positive things?
As always, with the shows that we seem to, and films that we seem to be reviewing, the diversity is really good. So the main character in this film is a Chinese girl, Chinese American, and it is not entirely central to the plot. Like, you could swap it out with a different nationality and that it would still make sense, but I think it was nice that they went to the effort to actually source, a teenage Chinese American actress.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time they're just like, fuck it, we'll just take out that bit of the plotline, who cares?
Well, speaking about how it's not actually pivotal to the story, they bring up a few times, like, oh, where are you from, where were you born, where did you grow up, etc.
Yeah.
And it's always dismissed. It literally doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
It's not actually important as such. The only thing that actually affects it, I think, is the fact that her dad then doesn't speak English.
Yeah, which kind of hinders him in his job prospects, but
yeah,
even that you could have come up with something else. It wasn't a necessary plot point, which I think it's important to have those kind of stories because,
Yeah, it's nice to see that something that doesn't affect the plot but is really good.
Yes. Yeah. Other positives are our dumb boy Paul, who isn't dumb at all. He's just awkward with words. I liked that he was awkward with words.
I think he's very lovable.
Yes.
As a character.
He's like one of those people who you want to be friends with. He just seems like he would be such a good person to know, Yeah. He's like very supportive of Ellie, and he's just genuinely a non-problematic male character, which sounds like such a low bar, but 21st century, baby.
As opposed to the problematic male character.
Yeah.
Trig.
Oh my god, Trig.
So he shows up, and I'm not entirely sure who he is or what his connection was. Oh,
he was Asta's boyfriend.
See, I thought that, but now I was like, that leaves a whole load of issues.
Well, yeah, there are a whole load of issues with it.
But anyway, I think I got the impression that was her suitor type of thing.
Yeah.
Where it was like, she was meant to be with him, some kind of family thing.
Yeah, basically.
He was problematic.
God, he was problematic in so many ways.
He's your stereotypical over the top, oh look at me, I'm the best guy around kind of thing, arrogant, self-centered, and I actually was glad he was there because it really does help hammer home some of the points for the other characters.
Yeah.
AKA how that is not Paul.
Yeah. Or Ellie for that matter.
Yeah. So I was glad he was around.
Yeah. And it was hella cheesy. Like hella cheesy. But I really, really liked that Ellie kissed Aster at the end of the film. I thought that was nice. I liked it.
Are we at the ending? Oh dear. Okay.
Oh dear. Did you not like it?
The last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Basically everything from the football game onwards.
Okay.
I just did not like that. I can't even place what it was. Just something didn't sit right.
Okay.
Maybe it was because Paul tried to kiss Ellie.
Yeah, that felt awkward.
And I thought that was the problem. But everything, I liked that Ellie kissed Asta. I like that. But everything else, I was just like, what? Okay. Like, also the scene at the church. Like,
yeah.
That was, it was an okay scene. Just something about it just went, this doesn't sit right. I can't even place what it is. Just something didn't.
It's because it kind of departs from the feeling of the rest of the film.
Yeah.
And I think there would have been ways to do that scene that wouldn't have departed so abruptly.
Mm.
But
I did kind of live in hope that they'd do a thing where like Ellie would play the song, a song would be about Asta, and then that would suddenly spiral into things.
Yeah.
So like Paul gives her the guitars, like play your song, and she plays the song about Asta, and then suddenly, oh my god, Paul's like what, and then Asta's like what, and then
it goes from there.
And then Trig's like, oh my god, you're not in love with me. In my mind, that might have been better, but I guess not, because that was where my brain wanted it to go, so it kind of subverted what I was thinking. But
yeah, but then just because it's predictable doesn't mean it's bad.
No, I just feel like the kind of left turn or whatever it takes at that point just didn't sit right with me.
It was a left turn as opposed to a plot twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everything up to the last 20 minutes I was loving, but yeah, just that last 20 minutes was
kind of disappointing.
Yeah. What did you think of Asta?
Oh, I loved Asta.
I think she was brilliant. I mean, a bit cliche, but
I always enjoy it when you have like a really pretty girl who is also, her own person and is clever and interesting, but is kind of overlooked for that because it kind of fits my experience of very pretty people.
Well, see, I have a bit of an opposing thing on that.
Oh, okay.
So I've seen a lot of films where it is all about, like, obviously you have the popular girls who are just awful.
Yeah.
But like you have the girl that the guy wants, who's actually this pretty girl who's actually really smart and clever and intellectual. I'd love to see a film that is just like this horrible mean girls style character, and it's all about that.
You should watch the film Mean Girls.
Yes.
Yes,
but as in this really nice guy trying to get this horrible girl.
You should watch Mean Girls.
Yes, but yeah, I'd kind of like to see, but that didn't take away from this. Like, this is really well done, and Asta's been, yeah, I think I've just now seen enough of that character type. I think I need to see something different.
Fair enough. I enjoyed it though, and I really enjoyed like the whole sort of the concept of the film as well.
Yeah, we talked about the kiss. I feel like that ruins the ending, because the ending is all like, oh, this wonderful best friend that she's made.
Yeah.
And I love that, but then the kiss earlier kind of ruins that.
I don't think it does. Because it's, you have to consider, right? Because there are three relationships that are being built in this film, which is Paul and Asta and Ellie, and Ellie and Paul. Those are the three relationships that we watch grow. And the two important ones are Ellie and Asta and Ellie and Paul.
Yeah.
And the two friendships are obviously, like, intrinsically linked because that's, like, the whole plot of the film.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're quite separate in the way that they develop. Because Ellie and Asta only start really being friends, like, halfway through the film?
Yes.
And then things develop with them as a friendship outside of the whole sort of letter writing thing. Like, obviously they're developing friendship through the letter writing thing, but it's like there's almost two friendships going on there, that at the end, Asta kind of realizes they will kind of come together. So
yeah, I don't know. It was really, I enjoyed it. I think I wasn't expecting to, and I did enjoy it. And that's what it's all about.
Yes.
One last thing to say on it is I really want a secret countryside hot tub now.
Yes. Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
Yeah. Just, I want one.
Yeah, I want to be within driving distance of, like, a deserted pool.
Yeah.
Carrying on. Who have you got for me today with Showdown Throwdown?
Showdown, Throwdown. So for those of you that weren't here last week, we take potentially two semi-random characters and put them in a football field and tell them to fight, and we have to work out what might happen. Sometimes it's a fight, sometimes it's not.
And sometimes Tommy makes me make decisions about dating the characters instead.
Sometimes. I don't think this is going to be that dateable. Well, actually, who knows? But anyway, going with today's irredeemable.
Okay.
Because I like to link them. We have the Power Rangers 2017.
Okay. Well, all five of them?
All five of them.
Okay.
Versus... Now, for some context, the Power Rangers are often compared to Iron Man.
Yeah.
And of course, we all know Iron Man's greatest enemy is Captain America.
Okay.
We're doing Power Rangers 2017 versus Team Captain America from Civil War.
Okay.
Yes.
Give me a second, I'm going to have to look up who's on Team Captain America for that film.
I mean, I can list them to you.
Yeah, I'll grab a piece of paper.
So we have our boy Steve Rogers. We have the Falcon.
Okay.
We have Bucky Barnes.
Bucky! Yeah?
We have Hawkeye.
Okay.
Ant-Man.
Mhm.
And Wanda Maximoff.
Okay. Versus 5 random teenagers. Okay.
The five Power Rangers at the peak of their... So this is like the end of the movie.
Okay. So we're talking about peak Captain America team versus peak Power Rangers.
Yeah, this is peak Power Rangers, end of the movie, versus Team Cap when they ran at Team Iron Man in the airport.
I don't know, because on the one hand, the Power Rangers have the power of friendship on their side.
Yes, they do. The power of friendship that turns into a massive giant robot.
Like, literally, that's the whole film. I can't believe it. Whereas, Team Captain America has Bucky, which on his own is like a tank.
I'll be honest, this was almost Power Rangers versus Bucky and the other Winter Soldiers. It was almost that.
Yeah. That's
so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think... Oh god, actually I'm not sure. You see, my initial reaction is, well, obviously Team Captain America is going to win because, you have these trained adults, mostly trained adults, against a bunch of kids who have been training for like a week.
But...
At this point, like a week and a half?
They were doing that ninja stuff in the cafe.
Just because they're fast doesn't mean they're good.
Well, you have to. So all of the Power Rangers are super, right?
Yeah.
They are strong. They are fast. They can jump high. They can breathe infinitely underwater, I guess.
Presumably.
They also have the Zords.
Oh my god, the Zords.
And also the Megazord, obviously.
The bloody Megazord. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do Team Cap have? They have, let's run this down. They have a guy with a shield who's a bit strong.
Who's very strong. Like, that's the whole thing, is that Captain America is very strong.
They have a guy with a metal arm who can shoot things really well.
Yeah.
They have a guy who can fly sometimes.
Yeah.
If you don't take out his wings.
Yeah.
You have a guy who can shrink and a guy who can go giant. And then you've got a guy who can shoot a bow and arrow.
And you have Wanda.
And you've got Wanda.
Yeah, and you have Wanda. I still think that Team Captain America.
But this is Wanda.
Win.
This is Wanda in Civil War, not Super OP Infinity War Endgame Wanda.
Yeah, but she's still pretty powerful in Civil War.
Yeah. Okay.
I reckon that, Team Captain America would win. Actually, no. I know how this would go down.
Okay.
Captain America would realise that these are fucking teenagers and just fucking refuse.
Wait, no, because he fights Peter Parker.
Yeah, but he doesn't hurt him. That's like a whole point about this, is
Okay.
he's like, oh my god, this is a kid. I can't hurt a kid.
Okay.
So I get the feeling that as soon as he worked out that these are teenagers, he'd just be like, no, fuck this.
But remember, no one can see. Remember when, assuming they're in Megazord, because that's their strongest form. When they're in Megazord, no one can see them.
Yeah.
It's made a point that no one can recognize them, and they disguise their voice.
Yeah, I get the feeling that that's because they are very high up and very small.
Yeah.
As opposed to anything else. It's the same as, you can't really see who's in a crane because they're very high up and very small.
Okay, so you think Captain America would just call it off?
Yeah, either that or, he'd try and, reason with them, be like, why are we fighting?
Okay.
Because, I feel like Captain America is just America's dad.
Yeah. Okay, just a quick follow-up to that.
Okay.
If we mind controlled Ant-Man as Giant Man, do you think Giant Man could beat the Megazord?
No, because he doesn't have the power of friendship on his side.
Does that? Okay.
I
That's what it comes down to.
I can't say it with a straight face.
Because every time they should have died, they just came back with the power of friendship. So yeah.
Exactly.
Actually,
it's just the power of friendship.
Okay, so they don't fight, and if they do fight, Power Rangers win because of the power of friendship.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to this. Oh my god. Moving on to the second one, which is a bit more serious.
Okay.
This is themed around copycats.
Oh, okay.
We have Dr. Doom, Dr. Victor Von Doom.
Okay.
Versus Darth Vader, whose design was inspired by Dr. Doom.
Okay.
So we Darth Vader in Rogue One, I'd assume is when he's his strongest, isn't he?
Yeah.
Versus Dr. Doom. Just a quick rundown on Dr. Doom, just because there's been a couple of versions. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. I'm literally looking him up right now.
Okay. So he's a Fantastic Four villain, with a metal mask thing. He's made of metal, basically. He's king of Latveria, and he has magic powers and lightning powers and stuff.
Okay. So
his mum was a witch, so he's a sorcerer, kind of like Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Versus Darth Vader, who obviously is also magic.
And also has a shiny sword.
But not lightning.
Yeah. Ooh.
They would fight, as they're both villains.
They would definitely
fight. They'd both be up for a fight.
Yeah. I don't know which way this would go, actually. Are we dropping them in close to each other, or are we dropping them far away from each other?
We'll get them to run at each other.
Okay.
From each end.
Because if they're in close, right, I reckon that Darth Vader would win because he's got that lightsaber.
So he just stabs him.
Yeah, he just fucking slices him up.
The question is, does the Force work on Doctor Doom? Since he's magic.
I mean, the Force works on other...
Can you just choke him?
I mean, the Force works on other Force users, so you'd have to presume that the Force is just a different version of magic, so yeah, it would.
Okay.
Much in the same way that, magic works on Doctor Strange.
Yeah, so if it's close range, Darth Vader wins, lightsaber, he's using the Force.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say if it's long range, Doctor Doom wins because he can electrocute Darth Vader because he's a cyborg.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and the minute his electrics go out, he dies. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. That's fair enough. That's very well reasoned.
Yeah. You see, sometimes it's the power of friendship, and other times it's a well-reasoned argument.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to very quickly touch on games before we wrap up. So by the time that this episode will have come out, the final update of Terraria, which I may have mentioned last week for quite a long time, will have come out by then. So next week I will be doing a rundown of my initial reaction, I guess. But the reason I mention it now is that they have told us what journey mode is, and it is not a creative mode, which is shocking. Because everyone thought it was going to be a creative mode. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a complete overhaul of the way that the game works. It's like a different game, but wearing Terraria clothes. If you're interested, I would very much suggest you look it up, because I do not understand it well enough to try and explain it, and even if I could, there's a lot. It's a completely different gameplay, it's a completely different way of even approaching the idea of the game.
That is extreme.
It really, really is. It's totally different to anything that they've put out up till now, so yeah,
I've my obviously when you discussed it last week, say it was sort of like a more sandboxy mode, I kind of thought, oh, you've got Minecraft survival versus creative, right?
Yeah.
But it sounds like this has just gone, actually, oh, it's like Minecraft story mode. It's just completely changed the entire game.
Yeah.
And the way that you play it. And that sounds ridiculous.
But it also, I don't know if it's going to work or not, because it does change some pretty intrinsic game mechanics. So I'm not sure that it's going to hold up against the other modes, but they're not getting rid of the other modes. They're not really changing that. So if I don't like it, then I can just leave it alone.
Yeah, that's fair. At least it's not a forced change.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to update me with your Lego games?
I mean, I could, but I've actually been playing something a bit different.
Oh my god!
I've been working on for a while. It's called a living Pokedex. Basically, just get every Pokemon into a PC box, just in order. It's basically like a data collection thing, and it's meant I've had to go through playing some of my old Pokemon games.
Okay.
And the most recent of that was Pokemon Soul Silver, which I played all the way through for the first time in a good number of years. And oh my god, is it still? I bought this. When did this come out? Like 10 years ago or so. And it still holds up. It's brilliant. It's amazing. It's by far my favorite Pokemon game. And there's nothing better than starting a new Pokemon journey during lockdown in my mind. So yeah, to any listeners who have a Pokemon game that they haven't touched in a while, my suggestion is have a go. We talked about last week with Lego Star Wars. If anything, it'll just be a massive nostalgia hit for you.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's been my game segment of the week.
Lovely. And
Lovely.
with that, I think we've discussed everything we wanted to say this week.
I think we have. Except I just want to say, once again, I want a hot tub that's in the mountains or woods or whatever. Just,
Yeah, because...
to end with. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
and don't forget the power of friendship.
Do not forget the power of friendship.
Most powerful force in the universe.
Power of friendship. Oh my god. Alright, we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.